This film has an ominous feeling to it. I liked the movie, but I also didn't. I'm a complicated person. The Zone of Interest is a movie about an Auschwitz commandant and his family who live in their dream home right next to a concentration camp. I finally saw it. I've been wanting to watch this movie for such a long time. When I saw that it was available at my cinema, I booked the ticket, and it was a very simple agenda today: Target run and Zone of Interest. And the reason I was so excited is because I heard such great things about the movie. I also heard it was a critic's movie, but I'm okay with that, which leads me to my first point. This movie is not for everyone. The pace of the movie is a little slow. It's actually not my favorite type of pacing. The movie also took some time for me to understand it as far as like what it means to me. And also you have this subject matter, which is a very sensitive and hurtful topic in our history. But despite all those things, this movie did have things that really captured me. For one, I haven't seen a movie from 1943 in that era that feels and was delivered in the way that this movie was. The cinematography is gorgeous, of course, and it was very asymmetric. It was almost like a very haunting version of Wes Anderson, or maybe like a cold version of Wes Anderson, not such a pastel-y version of Wes Anderson, which is Wes Anderson. And then you have certain camera movements that are not really movements at all. There's no dolly movements, there's no gimbals being used. It's basically just cuts to locations where the cameras were just placed, and it was different, but it was great. And the other thing that captured me was Sandra Hüller's performance. She's just on fire right now. She was terrific in The Anatomy of Fall, and she's terrific in this movie. She plays a wife of a commandant, and she's very strong, but also very cold. And it seems that the only thing she really cares about is this dream home that she owns and runs. But then there's also this incredible coat scene, which I'm not going to tell you because if I told you, it would give it away. But it's just so powerful, and you get an understanding of the type of character that we're about to see. And I know this has nothing to do with Sandra, but this is the second time, Anatomy of a Fall being the first time, where there's a dog who's also a co-star. And this dog is also amazing. So I don't know what it is about Sandra Hüller attracting animals that are really good actors, but it works in this movie again. And I have to tell you about the visuals and the sounds of this movie because it was just on another level. Those visuals and those sounds give this movie such a characteristic and a personality that I don't think I've seen in quite some time. And what I mean by that is that you get these gunshots in the background, or you get this smoke in the background, and you don't see it, but you know what it is because of the sound design and because of the time of history that we're in, and because what we know about what's happening on the other side of the walls. There's this element of using your imagination and almost like seeing a movie in your mind as you're watching the film right in front of you. It's a movie with such an uncomfortable subtleness to it, and it's really hard to explain. You just have to sort of experience it. It's not devastating and it's not haunting. It's just uncomfortable, but gently. Maybe it is haunting because as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about the movie, and I'm still thinking about this movie after I walked away from the cinema, because there's certain scenes where you just know that things are happening and you just feel it. I guess the way that I could explain it to you is that it's a very artistic movie that takes place in a very painful time in our history. And it's a movie that I enjoyed, but I don't want to see again, only because of the way that I feel as I walk away from it. And I like what it brought from a cinematic perspective, but not necessarily from a storytelling perspective. And if you're a fan of Jonathan Glazer's work, and he's a fantastic director, then perhaps you might like this film. If you're a fan of history, specifically history that takes time in this period, then you might like this film. But for me, I don't think I'll watch it again. All right, I have to go. But if you like the video, hit the like button. If you like movies, hit the subscribe button. And let's keep the conversation going. Check out my video on the Iron Claw right here.